Woe indeed. Woe indeed. Greetings. Welcome. Yes. I thought, you know what? Let's let's go live on YouTube for a bit. Means I can test out my new camera. How are we? Hopefully this is going to behave and it's going to work. And just all is good here. It's a little bit warm in the loft because I forgot I left the air conditioning off last night. But yeah, progress is good. Stuff is going on. Just been a bit busy. Much going on over your side of the pond, sir? Yes. Just doing a bit of working. Fiber stuff. You playing with a fusion splicer? I can't remember. I know. We had DTX over here, which was the Digital Transformation Expo, and it was interesting. We had a lot going on. But one of the interesting things was I was trying to actually speak to Grandstream and a few others, and they aren't really that interested, it seems. It was a bit odd. Yeah, trend I need to probably touch base with at some point. Again, there's a lot of things that would be nice to have time to do. Sadly, I don't. Looking at everything that's going on industry wide, it's a bit boring at the moment, I suppose. Or it's a bit pointless to a certain degree. I think that's some of the problem. There's not a huge amount that I've gone out and gone, oh, I must get hold of that. I'm still harassing, so to speak, Sophos as to when they'll be allowing us to use the XGS appliances with the software image. Don't know if that is going to ever come to fruition or not. Version 21 is still not fully out, but that does seem to be workable on most things. And Ubiquiti seem to be going off on one of their wonderful let's go crazy tangents again, which is quite fun to watch, but also frustrating. Especially with the new, I do understand, but I don't quite get one of the products recently, but yeah. We'll see what becomes of that and anything that they've got waiting in the wings. The AI key is the next one. You've switched back. It's not that they've ruined the products. The problem, I think, now, it's like, yeah, it sort of is, but then it's also, why have they gone off on this tangent into amps? And why are we coming up with solutions that really are actually like the new ones? I know I did spot Cody's going to be doing a talk on it because he's probably, well, no, it's not probably. He's been given them, obviously, because of his ties into Ubiquiti. But the Unify data device bridge is less functional than just using a mesh AP and 2 injectors. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't quite. It's a bit of a weird system. I don't get it. as such compared to the. It's a solution to a problem that, if it exists, you run a cable. So I'm not quite sure what their thought process is. Well, I know what their thought process is behind it, but yeah, the Pro version is effectively a slightly redesigned power beam. The indoor version is just pointless. Well, it seems that I think there's a port on the bottom and a port on the top. It's kind of like, hold on a minute, what? Let me just pull it up a second. Again, I just. Where have they put it? Where is it? It's under. No, I want to be in the US one. What's new? I haven't even got it on the What's New page yet. Is it an accessory or is it under Wi-Fi? No. Device bridge. So have we got where is it? Build features. So yeah. So you've got power going in from the bottom, and you've got the antenna and a network port coming out the top. Why not just have it? Why not have the antenna built in and the port on the bottom? It just doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. It's a wireless adapter for cameras, but it's not going to be that great in the real world. You're going to be this will be people trying to put these in places where they just aren't suitable, unfortunately. And it's got less effectiveness, than, say, a Swiss Army knife. A Swiss Army knife and 2 injectors has more functionality. Yeah, it doesn't strike me as a great product. The Device Bridge Pro, it's a redesigned power beam. I mean, that's the basics of it. I can understand that to a certain degree is probably potentially quite useful. But at the same time, what does it gain you over, again, meshing another AP in? It's all it's doing is limiting it, and the chances are you'd probably actually want to, that you'd stand a better chance dealing with it with a switch, because it'd give you more functionality, more options, and also if you had an AP, it would repeat the signal as well. So if you wanted a point-to-point, it's $400. Hold on a minute. What's a... I see why they're dropping. So 60 gigahertz. So pair of nano beams is $200. So by the time you've put a pair of nano beams in and a switch, you've got a potentially a more solid connection for less than half the price. That's what I don't get. It's don't think the Gigabeams are back in stock yet. They've been in stock for a while. No dishes. So yeah, point to point, make it a point. But what they're doing is they're integrating into the mesh system, which is designed to be a mesh, and that's what doesn't make sense. It's kind of like trying to solve a problem that is of their own thinking. It's just it doesn't. It's not a product I can see will be that amazing, especially in the environments where they're thinking of it. So when you're looking at, they stuck it under here. Yeah. So when you're looking at this externally, so they're meshing it in to a mesh 6, but it's not going to be this thing that it's going to be still meshing in, and Ubiquity's mesh is not always the most stable. Quite happily admit that. Been using it for years, and it's not the most stable. It's a lot better than it was, but it's nothing in comparison to a normal point to point, and that I think is a sad fact of this. It does need to be. It does need to be dealt with. No, again, from any manufacturer, it's not a stable product because it inherently is kind of a bodge. It's a last resort case because you can't pull cables to a certain degree and there's no other option. So yeah, it wouldn't be my choice of product. And the sod's law, it'll drop the mesh the one time you need it to be filming something. So unless they're planning on implementing anything in some of the new cameras where it can store the footage. Oh, yeah. I know there's always options available. It's just down to cost and logistics, to a certain degree. But most of the time, a point-to-point wireless link is pretty robust, as long as they're not crossing too much interference, and as long as they're line of sight and there's not trees growing in the way. Generally, they behave. It's only when you're dealing with sort of the bigger, longer distance links that you potentially hit a few more issues. But for most things, again, a point to point, not only is it cheaper, it's technically gives you more flexibility. Yeah, it depends. I mean, 5 gigahertz is pretty forgiving, compared to 60 gigahertz. 60 gigahertz hates trees. Although I don't know what your power output levels over there are. Radio Labs. I'll give it a look in a bit. I'll give it a look now. Radio Labs. So, so you've got a one. Yeah, I don't know if that would be legal here. That is one of the problems. Is point to point bridges. I mean, there's the 900 megahertz point to points are the ones to go through anything. Um, uh, Again, not see. Which system were you using, Jason? Yeah, this is the problem. Zip bridge. They got it listed somewhere. Zip bridge duo. Oh, it's a 2.4. Yeah. So I think the duo. Yeah. So I think you are allowed to output more power than us. Yeah. So yeah, you can output 1,000 milliwatt, so a watt on the. Normally that's on the 2.4. Be interested to know if you can do that on the 5 gigahertz. That's some of the problem. As much as it can be outputted to that. Yeah, I don't think can go up that high, but let's find out quickly. I can tell you what we can run. It varies massively. Outdoor power. Don't like using Solwise, but so we are up to 1 watt now. I know with band C, this is the one where you have to get a certain amount of licensing. Yeah, we can in the higher bands, but there are some caveats around that in terms of specifying. I think you have to get licenses for outdoor use for fixed wireless access points. Yeah, you go. So yeah, band C are used for licensed site bridging. So there is a weirdness. Band B is up to 1 watt, so that's fine. But that you had problem with band B is that's a DFS band, and if you're anywhere near any of the uh, airports in the UK, you will get the odd DFS ping, which just takes the whole system off for a while. So, but yeah, other than that, it was 200 milliwatts. And that I think is where the problem that a lot of the outdoor stuff gets anyway is the problem. We don't get it often, but we do get the odd DFS ping. So yeah, there's the channels. First off, indoor use is much better suited than older. This is because it reflects blah 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 blah. So yeah, it is an interesting one. It's nice to see we can do that. I knew we were low on that side. But this Spancy was always a fun one. Of interest then. Hold on. Hello? Sorry. Go on. Oh, did they actually run it? Oh, well, I thought that was next weekend. Are the bolts in? Oh, I was going to say the bolts were in. Sorry about that. I can. Yep, see my butt crack. It's all right. It's the entrance and exit from the loft. But it's nice now, actually. I have brought a toy. I can actually give YouTube a guided tour of the loft now by walking away. So you can go over here and over here. I can actually give you guys a proper tourish of the loft. So it's not bad for an Amazon warehouse return, which coming to you courtesy of the OBS Now it's going, what the hell's going on? T48G, that one. It's an old one. So this one, literally that one. So this is an OBS Tiny 2. It's a 4K camera, but it's currently in 1080 60 because the machine it's on doesn't. There's a massive lag otherwise. Yeah, this is my 24/7 emergency phone that I need to move. But it works. It may be end of life, but it works. And I had to give up my Teams phone because that went to the other office. But yeah, new camera means I can take and walk and talk, which was the problem previously. Being able to wander around was a bit of a pain because before that it was all done via a GoPro, which is behind you, which I can now turn off. The only thing that I might consider doing in the future is getting another one of these and having it over that side of the desk. So when I go over here, I can change it over to here and it follows me over here, which it does appear these units are quite good at that. But trying to think if there was anything else. Generally, I was just going to finish doing some work up here. I'm currently playing with power usage on equipment. And seeing what else is going on. Don't think there was anything else new, fun in that respect. Who else has had some fun and new stuff? I think it's Ruigi made it over to you guys yet. These guys. What? Yeah. So this is the next company that's trying to enter into the market over here. They're pushing in from the Far East. Yeah, it's interesting. I actually saw some of their switches at an expo, but there's only one big distribution platform over here at the moment, and they're kind of a bit vague on it still. But again, it's one of those things where they seem to do everything. Even do a wall. Let's see what they class as a next generation firewall. License space scalability firewall scaling up to 10 gig. 5-in-1 license, comprehensive network. Cloud. Yeah. Cloud. Cloud, make your business easy. See, it's things like that this is where I have concerns. Like, they need to get someone who is a native English speaker to almost go and read through all of their website. Cloud, make your business easy. It's very much like they're trying to sell, but they're trying to oversell something that may underdeliver. I don't know. Satisfying service upgrade and development demands. Flexible firewall performance scalability. Satisfying service upgrade and development demands. Rolls off the tongue. 5-in-1 firewall license for comprehensive network security defense. Cloud, make your business easy. I'd like some to play with. I genuinely would like to do a comparison on what it can do versus, say, obviously Ubiquity, but in terms of a next-gen firewall, is it a true next-gen firewall, or are they just selling it as a next-gen firewall, but it doesn't have the feature set? Three to 10 gigabits. So there's a lot of vagueness. So we've got IPS, antivirus, threat intelligence, application control, and URL filtering. So where's the next gen aspect of that? I'm not seeing it. That's just a threat management. That's just a UTM. And it doesn't appear to do any SSL scanning, so kind of eliminates it from that aspect as well. SSL VPN, IPsec, yeah. Something dripping on something outside. But so cloud managed. Let's check there. Oh, that's their big stack. Again, I don't know how many of these are just FS.com rebadges as well. And I know they've also got their other product portfolio, which is their, I think this is their more small businessy, yeah. Oh, they've gone into CCTV as well. It's an interesting manufacturer. It's an interesting idea. It does, however, scream not yet ready for Western Europe. And I would be very, very unsurprised if a lot of the translations are not exactly perfect. So I would expect to see some typos. Is that what I saw the other day? I think that was what I saw in Iraq the other day. Some of those. Management. Sounds like there's fireworks going off somewhere. Cloud. This is everywhere. Cloud. Make your business easy. It's a very interesting slogan. So, Cloud Make Your Business Easy is one of the largest network management platforms in the world, providing free, safe, and reliable services to customers. So I can have a free trial of the free platform. Yeah. Cloud leads the future, reshapes the value chain. Fulfill requirements in whole project chain, afford high values, and yeah. This is where they need to spend a bit of time with someone who's a native English speaker to refine this down. It's not exactly correctly grammarized. I don't doubt the product. I expect the product is incredibly powerful and does a good job. My concern will always be it's a Chinese product, therefore how long until it gets banned? I did remember seeing something about them having a data center for basically EU users being spun up. I don't know if it is yet. And I don't know how much of this I believe is the other problem. Air Metro series. So looks like a standard, yeah. Standard point to point, standard point to multi-point. Sector antennas. So again, a lot of this is just either OEM'd or a lot of the time they are nanostation clones that they've just modified to a certain degree. So interesting. But yeah, this is somewhere I'd be interested, looking at and comparing them, because this is going to be probably the next big company to push in here. I don't know, again, if I was trying to engage with Grandstream last week, but they just weren't that interested. It was quite a disappointing conversation I had with them. They sort of were of the opinion that, well, yeah, they do this stuff, but I think they accepted that they don't have a market sort of segment here that they can push too hard on, because no one's that interested in it. Who else have I been speaking? I spoke to some of the Cisco guys recently. Cisco are trying to re-engage with the small business market as well. Right, let's close all that. Yeah, the problem, I think, is they don't really push their products here. It's kind of, I mean, I spoke to them because we've used their handsets. The problem is we actually saw they've got a ruggedized Wi-Fi handset, which is basically, it's an Android mobile that was built to be rugged. But one of the chaps I was actually up there with had one of the ones from, obviously, from AliExpress, but it blew it out the water. And obviously, a lot of the expos you go to, it's not just the manufacturer there. It's a manufacturer with one of their main distributors there. And he had this lovely Grandstream phone, and my friend pulled out this brick, because it was effectively, and it's one of the ones that gets rebranded to a few different manufacturers. I know them normally as Doogie. And while they had this thing that was like solid, and it would be a good solid phone, when you've got a phone next to it that costs half the price and has almost a head torch on it, it's got a built-in projector, it's got an infrared camera, it's got a heat camera on it, it's got everything above and beyond, it's got the standard thing of throw everything at it. It sort of opens their eyes to, actually, well, what do we do with that? And obviously, again, there's going to be some areas where there's restrictions in place where it's going to be no good, but there's also areas where it will work better to have obviously all under one management. Sadly, obviously, I know Grandstream do a lot of Wi-Fi phones. The one thing and again, they kind of got a bit sort of very much sort of a sort of, well, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. When I said, well, why they haven't got any wireless Teams phones, and there's like, well, the team Microsoft have closed down the application for being a manufacturer for that, which is understandable. They're not interested in that, but at the same time, there's a big falling out for a wireless Teams phone. I have a few of their Wi-Fi. Yeah, this is the thing. We've used their non-wireless, is it the non-Wi-Fi ones? Yeah. But it's been one of those things that there is a market segment gap. Greetings, Rich. How are you? You've been busy. Did you make it to DTX? seeing what's quickly going on. No, we went up. We I was just talking about what had gone on and what who I'd spoken with and things like that. But yeah, I'll say it was quite quiet as well. It was a bit of a quiet day when we went up. And speaking to a few of the stands there. So Meraki firewalls compared to the Sophos ones, they're two different approaches to firewalls. Meraki, so in my opinion, Meraki do not have a true next-gen firewall. They have a very powerful, the MX range is very, very powerful as a firewall. But they assume a lot of the time that your entire system is Meraki. The Sophos platform incorporating the XGS or Sophos firewall platform, synchronized security, NDR, MDR, the whole kit and caboodle behind it, is a different sort of product. Meraki, I think, have only recently put their TLS filtering out of beta, and they're because their firewalls are, I think they're primarily to a certain degree ARM based versus the Sophos being, well, they're AMD, but they're x64 based. The processing power available to them is a limiting factor. Let me have a quick look at what they've got. I wonder if they've got it rated at a throughput. Meraki MX SSL throughput. Let's have a look at their sizing guide. See if it's got a. Don't know if they've actually got it listed. And the other thing as well that goes with it is obviously it becomes a very expensive product. I'm just having a quick look. Even in its a Sophos firewall, if you take the license away, is still a basic firewall. Let's see what it's got listed, if anything. No, I can't read that because I've got to sign in. I was told that they had the ability for it, but they were not focusing on it. So yeah, it is a different sort of product. They're assuming generally that you're going to be in an entire Meraki network, and any sites you're connecting to for SD-WAN are going to be Meraki primarily. So yeah, a lot of what they're trying to do is offload it to other sort of Cisco products. So as part of it, they'll want to sell you Umbrella, potentially 1,000 eyes, that sort of thing. There's a lot of upsell with it. So it's difficult because it's like comparing, if you comparing all the different firewall manufacturers and all their different products, or their different approaches to things. Everyone does something slightly different, and it may not fit what you want, or someone else might have a different take on it, or they may use different stacks to achieve the same thing. It all depends on what level of protection you want to go into as well, and how much complexity or administration they take. I don't think, no. I think they may have even dropped it now. They may have just dropped that functionality off altogether. It's not showing too much, but then what they're trying to do, as I say, is to try and push you into using different different services to achieve the same thing. But again, Meraki is a good product if you're happy to pay for it. That's the key point. Nothing wrong with Meraki as a product. It's just not that cheap. And if you don't want 24/7, 365 instantaneous support, you can achieve similar, better for a lot less in certain areas. So that's kind of where they are. There are, well, there's so many different approaches that they can make to that, but their ecosystem is what it is. What I haven't actually looked at yet is, Jason may know this one. What is Ultra Labs' new routers function set? Where is it? Route 10, that's the one. Because I haven't looked at. So it's got DPI. That was what I wanted to have a look at. Come back. Come here. So it will do IPS at 10 gig. Fine. So again, just depending on what level of product it is. 4 2.5 gig ports. Blue. Quad-core Qualcomm network accelerator. But again, they are a new company still. They are still a company that has potential, but at the same time, they're still the new kids on the block. Is the self-hosted controller easier yet? Not showing it, but hey ho. Have you become a bit despondent on them? The biggest problem is that Alta stormed onto the scene, and they came in with a big song and a dance, and they got their kit out to the people. And the problem is, have you up on fail? Oof. Yeah, this is the problem. They made a big song and dance and a jump up and down, and here we are. And whilst, I mean, I've still got my Ultra Labs kit, I don't have a problem with it. It still works absolutely fine. But if I have a piece of Unify hardware go offline, I've got tons of it on the shelf that I can just throw it in and sort the RMA out. Wow. Okay, that's not a good look. Did they get Did they get struck by lightning or something? I mean, that's quite severe, having 3 APs fail. Oh, so they sell you new ones and then they refund you the old ones. Was it off of an auto switch by any chance? I mean, that is not a good look. AP6s, 6 Pros? I mean, Pros, yeah. I mean, I know they get hot. I'll get, yeah, they definitely get hot. But that's quite poor. I mean, obviously, production batch might have had a fault, but yeah, and obviously the problem being this is where the age old argument still exists between oh, well, that would make more sense. Three bricked, yeah, by a firmware. Oh, I say my 6 gets quite warm, especially if it's if it's flush up against something. Yeah, that sounds like a Duff firmware. Well, even so, there should be an RMA process, but then the problem is, I mean, would it have been quicker to have bought 3 new APs? Welcome, Jake. I mean, that's the thing, and especially if you have if you have a client offline for 5 days, that's not a good look. It doesn't instill much confidence. I think that would be some of the problems there. And no firmware recovery process either. I mean, that would be an interesting one, because obviously generally most of the more mature products have the ability to firmware recover, or you can put them in a mode to firmware recover. But I mean, my experience of them is it's nice, but they don't do anything above and beyond what everybody else in that workspace does, really. Few neat little sort of things there. Their multi-password thing is okay, but there's nothing that would drag you to it above and beyond someone else. I suppose that's more the issue with that. What's that? No, that's fine. Git auto. Oh, what on earth is that? Oh, okay. That's a. Yeah. Yeah. Occasionally, well, hold on. Here you go. There we go. Occasionally, I will come on here and do a stream. I'm on here because I'm playing with a new camera, which means that I will probably be able to do more multi-streaming now, because previously the problem was I would be using the hold on, let's see if I can see it. Turn that on a second. So previously on here, I would be using my GoPro, which is that view, which is a bit far away, and you can't see if I go anywhere and do anything. So I've changed over to this camera now, and it means I can actually take people on tours of the loft, because I've got a camera that can follow me around, and you can now see all the way over here where there's stuff, and I can walk over here where there's things. So I'm now in landscape as well as portrait, and I will be able to sit with things. It is the OBSBot. So it's the OBSBot Tiny 2 Lite. And it doesn't like focusing on things that aren't. It's got. That's confused it. Come on, down here. Down here. Thank you. It does some weird things, I think, as well. I can. Is that? There you go. Will it zoom in? Can't remember. You could do some weird things with it to make it zoom in and zoom out. The loft is not tidy. The loft is most definitely not tidy. Every time I try and tidy it up, someone goes, "What about this?" And I pull a ton of stuff out and it just makes more mess. I still haven't tidied up my sophoses. The other fun thing you can actually do with this camera is I can go, wee, not that way. I can control it and say, look, so there's the desk. And yeah, so we've got it down a bit. You can see the piles of sophos and the mess that the desk is all in. That all needs to be cleared up. Right, it's reset that back. There we go. And put that back on tracking, and there we go. So it's not a bad camera, I'll give it that. It's what I've been after for a while, and it's tiny. I mean, genuinely, it is literally, it's that big. So it's quite a neat little unit. I try and use it a bit more, especially on YouTube and on TikTok as well. That's all fine. That's all behaving. Excellent. But just trying to think. You've been, Rich, you've been up to anything else since we last caught up? I think I'm still waiting for. Well, I think that's it for expos over here now. Don't think there's anything else until next year. Oh, nice. Was that good? It's one of those weird things because we don't deal with a lot of building and componentry. I don't have any call to deal with Target. And the open days are normally, if they're not London, they're up in Manchester, which is a bit too far to travel for me that frequently. I'll have to see if I can get along to one day. See what they're like. We have been looking at changing suppliers for a few things. Oh, Leeds, local then. That's only 6-7 hours drive away for me. I don't even think it's any quicker. I think it's even slower if I took the train. I think I'd have to go via either London or Birmingham to get to Leeds. Just keeping an eye because I know Cody was planning on going, or he's got a stream booked, and I don't want to overrun that because I will go and join in that when he does go live. Yeah, again, depends on how much they can justify doing it. When's that going? Well, okay, he's live in 3 hours. That's fine. 10 o'clock. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Yeah, Cody gets to answer all the same questions on the fun new toy from Unify. In fact, no, what it'll be dealing with is a stream full of questions on OnVIF and the joys that go with OnVIF. which, yeah, Ubiquity are kind of reaping what they sowed with that one. No, how are you getting on with yours? I haven't got a use for talk. That's the problem. I haven't got a good use case for it because we don't have that gap. That's one of the problems with OnVIF. Um, it's great to have a standardized protocol, but no one bothers thoroughly testing it for every version. It records all calls. Is there no way to turn that off? I mean, it's no good for any business in the UK that requires PCI compliance if it can't be turned off. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to be careful with that, though. You need to find out if they're taking payments over the phone. Because it should be off unless they turn the recording on. And even then, there's a very, very weird little grey area in PCI compliance because you're not supposed to record any credit card numbers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's always this call may be recorded, blah, 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 blah. But if you are doing any payments, so if you're taking credit cards over the phone, you can't record the number. You have to either have it so that it's why if you speak to like your local council, if you ever have to pay anything to the local council, they'll send you off to a third party system that does all the credit card processing. Yeah, it's just being aware of that. So it's just, and it's making sure people are aware of that. Because that's a problem I've got with a different phone system at the moment, trying to make that a bit more functional. Oh, that's fine. Hold on. All right. Hey, look, you can follow me over here now. It's quite fun. Look at that. There you are. All right. Plugging something back there that I use like slash to power back up. Go. And now I can come back over here. And you can still follow me. Oh, this is so much better. I was trying to work out why one of my cloud keys was offline, and then I realised that I'd unplugged the gateway it's behind. Right, wait for that to boot up. Hopefully that will take a few minutes because it's a UX, not anything fast. That's fine. They're good. Excelente. The Wi-Fi bridge. Myself and Jason were just talking about this. So this one or these two, the device bridge. I don't think it's a great design. I think it's quite a poorly thought out product. So this this one in particular, the device bridge, I don't see the point in it, because that does the same thing. In fact, that does a better job. So using something like a Swiss Army knife and a couple of PoE injectors will achieve what that does. But you could put these two in just a small little waterproof box, and you've got it outdoor rated. And not only that, because it uses the mesh system, you've got another access point online, and you've actually got something broadcasting, and rather than just something that's probably will be on the edge of the wireless thing. If the location for this device is close enough that it's a solid connection, then it's probably close enough that you could run a cable to it, because you've got to have power there already. It's just, there's so many silly little things that in the real world that I don't think it makes it a great product. I mean, for some people, yes, there will be a use case for it. For others, I think the problem will be that it's just an expensive way of not running a cable. And it still won't be as stable. How much is where's a Swiss Army knife? So a Swiss Army knife is, well, it's $10 less at the moment, but it's infinitely more functional. That's my concern with it. Just having a look. U6 lights. It's nice to see the building-to-building bridges are coming back into stock in places. These have been out for a while. The Device Bridge Pro, I mean, is a, to a certain degree, it's a re-firmwared nano beam. So they've taken the nano beam and just made it a unified device, which is fine. I mean, that plastic work is identical. Obviously, they may have made changes internally, but the fact that it will do point to point, so again, link 5 kilometer distances with a point to point connection to another Device Bridge Pro, or seamlessly uplink with unified Wi-Fi auto link. Well, that's just Wi-Fi mesh. The only nice thing is it's like what they did with so it's like the difference between the building to building bridge and the Gigabeam. Now the Gigabeam is still passive 24 volt, but it's a 60 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz failover, the same as the building to building bridge, but obviously not as unified. So do you say, that's great, okay, we'll put a pair of Device Bridge Pros in at $200 a pop, or do you go for a pair of nano beams at $100 a pop? And yes, you have to put in a switch at one end, which you probably would want to do anyway. And not only that, that would give you, say you put in a Flex XG at one end, well, that will give you PoE Plus, potentially. Pretty sure the Flex XG is PoE Plus. If it's got the main unit on it, let me just double check that. Power supply, maximum total. Yeah. Maximum, yeah, so it's PoE, yeah, so it's 25 watt output per port. Yeah, it's. I did laugh when I read about it, and then obviously you get here's Clay's video, here's Cody's video, here's the next video, all on the same product, and all it is a wireless client that auto links, and it's like, why? What is the big thing about this that doesn't do, other than, oh, this doesn't have a PoE out on it? Well, no, but hold on, I think I've got one. I think I've got one somewhere. Hold on. Not there. Not there. Yeah, there you go. Flexing. I'm flexing. So there goes a flex. So ta-da! And you put a flex utility on that, and you have an infinitely more functional product that can not only just have one camera, you can have 4 cameras on it. And it's an AP. Or sorry, 2 cameras on it. Because you've got power the AP, so you've got the 5-port switch, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, so you have 2 cameras and an AP. For about the same cost. That's what I don't get. You've got, not only that, you've got the device bridge that it's powered underneath, but the cables come out the top. So again, yeah, if they'd actually thought about this and they'd made it so that it was, say, if you could, well, in fact, if Ubiquiti came up with a waterproof PoE injector, you could have PoE powered it and then had it designed like that, where keep the antenna internal and have a PoE port on the bottom. Aesthetically, it's horrendous, in my opinion. You could have literally redesigned that a little bit and had a better product. I don't get why they decided to go down that route with it. And yet, for the Pro, they grabbed a nano beam and went, "Hey, this works," and just you reuse that. They could quite literally have grabbed. In fact, they could have grabbed a loco. They could have just grabbed a nano station loco and put and literally put 2 ports in the bottom. It's yeah, just doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Don't even think they do that's a nano station loco. I don't think they do the nano station. Oh no, they do a nano station. Yeah, so even if they'd done it with the nano station AC, pretty sure that, yeah, has got 2 ports in the bottom. It's just, it doesn't make enough sense to me what they've done. Years ago, you used to be able to take the Pico station and reflash it. So many moons ago, you could get a Pico station and this is one of them, that you could reflash with Unify firmware and turn it into a Unify AP. So you took a product from the line, which is why I believe, because obviously this went end of life quite some time ago from the main range, but it's why if you dismantle a AC mesh on the circuit board, it was going to be a Pico station, because actually on the circuit diagram, like on the circuit board printing, it has got the name Pico because it was going to be taking over from the Pico station. And then they called it the mesh. So yeah, there's always a lot of like redoing and redoing and renaming with Ubiquiti. But I suppose yeah, but it's the fact they took a product and thought, why have a product and then limit its usability? Because if they had thought about it and actually gone away and consulted and made it so, that would make more sense as an outdoor product. That would make a lot more sense as an outdoor product than an indoor product. I mean, that would you want to see that? Would you genuinely want to see that sort of thing lying around a home? I wouldn't. We'd get crucified if we had those on display. But it's going to have to be on display. Because it's going to need the antenna to be somewhere, and it just makes no sense. If I mean, they put a flex camera on it. They have a solution for this. It's quite simple. That's the solution. They just need to come up with a G5 instant. But then the problem you would get in your garden shed is you would need an AP externally to do that. And the chances are that if you wanted it in your shed, if it's that close, you could run a cable. If it's too far away, the mesh is not going to be great. So you'd put a point-to-point in. It's a non-product. I think that's the problem with it. It's a product that doesn't have a real purpose. It's like someone said, I want a device that can be used just to link into the mesh. And they've gone, well, how can we advertise this? How can we sell this? I know, we'll make it a device adapter. But they already had a product for that as well. This is the thing. It's kind of like overlapping the same product again and again and again. Hold on. Let me just go and check. Have you not been here? What? Why aren't you working? Maybe I need to refresh the page. Got that. So when the idea behind the flex utility. In fact, they've updated. That's interesting. They've actually updated the flex utility with the Swiss Army knife. So this is quite an interesting thing here. So you've got the building to building bridge coming in. You've got this. They already had a solution to this problem. That was infinitely a better solution. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We just don't use the building to building bridges, A, because you can't get hold of the bloody things, and they are twice the cost of a generic point to point. And because we use USP anyway, it's not a problem. So yeah. It's a product for a solution that they didn't need to solve because they already had solved it in a better way. Yes, it's a bit bigger, but it's infinitely more flexible and more reliable because the building to building, a point to point link is more reliable than the mesh link. I know that because I have these set up with mesh links, and whilst they're okay, they're not amazing. Yeah, someone said that's too big, I need it smaller. Again, there would have been, they would have done better to have redesigned something like the Swiss Army knife and had a Swiss Army knife Pro that's got PoE out on it or that sort of thing. Instead, they've tried to come up with a program that is that's all that will happen. They'll just release an outdoor box for it. Or someone will design one. I mean, that would be the other one. Put a pigtail on it, antenna on it, done. I was just going to go and have a quick look. So, if you've not seen, I need to refocus my G3. Focus on that. There we go. Forgot lying in front of it. Bye. That's on VIF with Protect. So you've got a 2K pick on the left hand side and a HD G3 Pro on the right. But it's fairly easy to get up and running, but it is restrictive as to what you can do, which is to be expected. But there's a lot of people having problems with it. That's what I was waiting to fire up earlier. And there you can see the winch from two slightly different angles. But yes, it's going to be one of those products that I don't know if they will come up with some further designs for it. The building bridge is useful. What, the pull cord? What in so this is the winch. This is how I get stuff up and down from the loft. The only thing I've never tried on the winch is taking myself up and down on it, which I wouldn't do. A Marmite product, yes. Some people will find uses for it. I think in a lot of occasions there are better ways to achieve the same thing overall. And the product, the disparity between the Device Bridge and the Device Bridge Pro. They're two completely different products. The only similarity they have is they've both got PoE out and they can both mesh in. That's it. Oh, the lighting pull cord. Yeah, that just means I can turn the lights on and off when I leave. Yeah. If I was sensible, what I should do is swap the pull cord out for something that's either smart powered or has a remote control, something like that. Or as the other half just tested before I went live, she can turn the lights off and on up here to get my attention. Microwave set. The problem with I just, you can get smart. I could probably get an adapter and just fit it in there. I would be interested to see when we're going to see a replacement for the base station XG. That will probably be coming soon. Have you used your U7 Pro yet, Rich? I now have two because I've stolen Jamie's one. And we haven't used them because we don't have a use for them. Are you pleased with it? Or is it one of those, it works, so therefore, oh well? Desperately need to get something up on the wall there and attach some APs to it. What I do need to do actually is do a test with some of the older APs. Triple, double, triple check everything. Yeah, cover the smart bulbs. Again, we don't really need it for business, because nothing really is 7 yet. I don't need it for home because nothing here is 7. Yeah. I've got enough Wi-Fi 6 products that I can leverage that, but I don't need any more coverage here. So it's kind of a nice to have on the shelf. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The only things that I'm expecting to see in next will be a U6, a U7 in wall, not a wall, an in wall, and maybe a U7 mesh. But even that is a bit limited. There's nothing really spectacular to see on that. It's a bit of a weird time with everything going on at the moment. Get that, get that, get that. Switch you back to me. Yeah, I don't know what else really is new in I haven't seen anything new. We've had a bit of fun with obviously Draytech's latest CVE, which was quite amusing because obviously Draytech were at DTX and I went and spoke to the guys there. And quite rightly, they were like, well, everything that has been shouted about, because it was the day after it hit the headlines. Everything that we've been talking about was patched back in August. I mean, that's why at the moment. I mean, I've got Britex everywhere just because I was doing some testing with them. Um, they're there for doing some power testing just to demonstrate a few things. No, is MLO out yet? I didn't think they'd actually launched it fully yet because they were having problems with it. I mean, that would be the ultimate kicker, won't it? Is that they've realised that the hardware doesn't support it properly, or that the standard has changed or something, which shock horror. That's fine. Nothing else new there, and there's nothing new there. Don't think. Yeah, I can't remember. If it, and again, hardly anything supports it because it's too new. It's still going to be. We are still 2 or 3 years away from Wi-Fi 7 being the default, effectively. I think. Anyway, right. I think I will wind that up for now. I'm going to go get some tweets, and then I will probably be back live on TikTok, I expect, this evening. I don't think there's anything else that I needed to cover. I will keep an eye out for when Cody goes live. I think he's going live at about 10, so we'll see what happens then. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for talking. And I will see you all very, very shortly-ish, maybe. And we'll go from there. So a good night, one and all.